Okay, now we're going to cover your experience section and how to appeal to multiple audiences in this area. And this is a really big question a lot of people have, so we're going to dive in. Now, before I do that, I want to just show you one area. I'll get my little drawing tool here. You may or may not have these types of boxes, these two here. It depends on where you are in the world and what iteration of LinkedIn you have at the moment. But if you do have these, I'm going to explain what these little boxes are very quickly. So this one is if you're looking for a job. This is you can secretly kind of signal to people with recruiting software on LinkedIn that you're looking for a new job. Okay, I'm not, so I'm just going to X that out. Now this other one is basically you can have a little box at the top of your profile that says what you do. And so in my case, providing marketing services, etc. So LinkedIn is trying to, again, help people cut to the chase. Who is John Nemo? What does he do? What are his services? They want people knowing quickly what it is you do. So if you have this little box here, you can click the editing tool, the little pencil, and then it will, give you business information and say, what's your focus? Which of these fields? Maybe I want to say coaching and mentoring. And then if you pick that, it's going to only give you a limited amount of choices, right? So depending on what it is you do, you have some limited choices here in terms of categories and things like that. So, I'll just choose digital marketing, marketing consultant, social media marketing. I'll choose some of these. And then there's some more. Yeah, this probably fits what I want people to know. And then it will say, are you available locally or remotely or both? Are you okay with allowing LinkedIn members you're not connected with to message you for free? Yes, right? You want to check that. And then you choose down here, do you want to display this publicly? Yes, you want that, right? We want as many people to find us and see us. So then we click save, and now that little box updates. And so, again, that's just something, it's not a huge deal if you don't have it. It's, again, what I would call one of those nice to have features, but it's not going to be critical. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. But again, that's how to handle these small little boxes. So with that out of the way, now I want to dive into the experience section. And as I scroll through, notice how hidden the about section is, right? And how the experience section here really pops out to us because it has the most text displayed, right? There's a lot going on. So you think about the online culture we live in. People are looking at this on a mobile device or on a laptop. They're scrolling quickly. The first thing they're going to look at is your name, your photo, and your title. Okay, if that interests them and they think, well, yeah, I'm a business coach or consultant, maybe he can help me, they're going to scroll pretty quickly down. They may or may not stop here with what I do and this whole section. So what they always almost land on, though, is the experience section. And so what I like to do with the experience section and appealing to multiple audiences, which we'll get to in a minute, what I like to do is actually copy and paste my about section as my first experience listing, because oftentimes people miss it. And so I want to make sure that people don't. So you're going to notice what I've got here in my about section. I just copied and pasted it as my first experience listing right here. It's the same text, and then you can click see more, and it's got the same stuff in there, okay? So I really encourage you, once you set up the about section here, go ahead, go down to experience. You're going to click the plus sign to add a new experience, and then we're going to walk through how to do that. But your first experience listing, you're going to want to just paste in what you put for your about section, okay? And now let me walk through how this all works, because I know some people will say, well, wait a minute, how did you get your company logo and everything in there, Nemo Media Group? How do I get that? The way LinkedIn works is when you do an experience listing, it's going to look for a company page to connect it to. So here's what I mean. I'm going to click the plus button. And when I go in, I'm going to, put in my title, whatever it is, but it'll say, put in the name of your company. And so if I say, okay, I work for ESPN, right, it's going to look for that company page. These are company pages that have already been set up on LinkedIn that I can claim I'm an employee of, okay? If you don't have a company page and you just do John Nemo Incorporated, it will still list it. It just won't link to a company page. You won't have a logo. It'll just have this little building thing. If you want to have a company page, then I'll show you how to set that up very quickly. They're free to set up. The reason I don't go in depth about company pages is there's not really a lot of value in them beyond if you want to run LinkedIn ads, which I don't recommend because they're very expensive, and it's not going to be effective. I want you to get leads the fastest way possible, and company pages are not part of that equation. Anyway, I want to show you how to set one up very quickly if you want to have a company page. So you go under work, under the work tab here, you scroll down to the very bottom where it says create a company page, okay? And so then you just click that. It's free to do. You get to set up a page. You're going to fill out all these different things. Which type of page do you want, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then they're going to walk you through setting that up. Now, I'll show you very quickly what my company page looks like. The way to treat a company page. And let me go down here. Now that it's linked, now that I've set up a company page and linked to it on my profile, if you're curious and looking at my profile as a prospect, well, what's Nemo Media Group? What's the company? You can click on that, takes you to the company page. So if I view it as a member here in the top right, because I'm on the admin side, this is what a member would see, okay? It's basically just a brochure website. Just one and done, set it up and leave it be. You're not going to really need to do anything with it. The only real benefit to a company page is if you're an enormous company like Nike or Google or something, and you can't post, individually one-on-one engaging people. Because remember, the whole premise of LinkedIn Riches is that the money's in the mailbox. It's in one-on-one messaging. So company pages, obviously, people don't want to communicate with a logo. They don't want to talk to a company. They don't want to get advertised to. So don't spend a lot of time on this. The only real reason to set up a company page is you want to have a nice logo on your LinkedIn profile page, and you just want to have a kind of a one and done brochure set up for your company on LinkedIn. Okay? So you can set all that up. I actually just copied in what I had on my profile, kind of gave some information. Again, I don't get a lot of traffic here. I have a few hundred followers, but it's not where the rubber meets the road in terms of lead gen. So once you set that up, you can fill out your company page, do all the things you want to do here. Now let's go back to the profile. So step one is you went in under work, you went down to the bottom, you create a company page. Now let's go back to your profile, and we'll go back to the experience section here. We'll click the plus sign, and I'm going to show you an example of how to create that new summary. Or actually copy and paste it. So I go into About, where I just created in the previous video all of that great content. I'm going to select it all and hit copy. I'm going to just close that. I'm going to go down to Experience. I'm going to click the plus sign. I'm going to put in my job title. And before I do that, I'll actually just go down to where it says Description, and I'll just paste all that text in. And that is from the About section or the Summary section. So now we go in and we put in our title. And what LinkedIn will suggest here is if you say you're a business coach, it will say, hey, use these terms. These are terms people are searching for. So you can insert the keywords. What I like to do, though, is often add more to it, not just say, think about this as well. If I just said I'm the CEO of Nemo Media Group, which is true, right? That doesn't do anything for a prospect. They don't care. Remember Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People? He says, your customers, your clients don't care about you. They care about themselves. Nobody cares that you're the CEO of your company. What they care is, what can you do for them? What are the services you provide? Who do you help? So if I'm a business coach, I'll say that I'm a business coach or business coaching specialist, and then I'm going to put a space, and then above return, you can add this little line break if you hit shift, the key right above the return key in the keyboard, and I can say serving, small, let's say serving Orlando, Florida, Orlando-based, let's get as niche as we can, dental clinics. Now imagine if I'm a dentist in Orlando, Florida, and I see this. And I go, oh, okay, what's your job title? It's not CEO of some company I've never heard of. It's business coach or, maybe SEO specialist, whatever your service is, and then serving a niche audience. This I love because, again, your clients want to feel like you're all about them. They want to feel like, oh, yeah, he specializes in my niche, in my industry. So if I can really do the riches are in the niches, they're going to love it. So SEO specialist, business coach, serving, if it's a location-based business, like you're in a geographic area, great. If it's not, just say serving dental clinics and dentists, right? Whatever it is. And then I'll show you how to do this for multiple audiences in a minute. But that's the idea behind the title section here. Now the company, remember, if we set up a company page, Nemo Media Group, and then we can put our location in, let's say Minneapolis, okay? And then what's interesting, it depends if you want to list this as your top area, currently working in the role or not. Either way, you want to put in a start date. So when your business started, when you started doing this, let's say 2011, if you're done with this role or you don't want it to appear at the top, then you can put an end date and, whatever it is, 2018. If you've progressed, if you're currently in the role, just click currently, and then the end date is present. And I'll show you how to rearrange all that. Now, you don't want to update your headline. Okay, so uncheck that, because what it's going to do is try to update your overall LinkedIn headline. We don't want to do that. So uncheck that. Description, remember, that's what we've got here, where we were able to say, copy and paste over the About section. Media, again, is where we can go in and we can upload files, or we can link to like a YouTube video, testimonial, or something like that. So that's where we add media. You don't want to share this with the whole world, so just keep that turned off. That's a network update. So now I'm ready to add this to my profile. What it's going to do, again, it should group everything under Nemo Media Group. So when I create more listings, they should all fall under Nemo Media Group. So let's see if that works. I'll click Save. Congrats on your new role, blah, blah, blah. Let's just skip that. We don't need to add people to it. Now you can see if I go down here to experience, there it is. SEO specialist serving dental clinics and dentists. You can see May 2001 to present, yada, yada, yada. And it's got my other jobs, quote unquote, listed. So I'm appealing to different audiences. Now, here's what's interesting about it. Let's say, for example, I don't want this appearing first. What I'm most concerned about right now is the one-on-one coaching. Right here, you'll see these little lines. If you click on those, you can drag a section to the top. See how you can rearrange that? I can say, I want to put this above the SEO. I want to move the SEO above this, and it will let you rearrange it all. But what you can see is under this one company name, 26 years experience, because it goes, I put 2001, or I don't even know what I put in there, 1990 something, but it lists all these different jobs. And so this is how you appeal to multiple audiences. So let me show you what I mean. So for example, let's roll with this. Let's say I'm an SEO expert and I've got 3 niche audiences I want to sell to. I want to do it for dental clinics, I want to do it for lawyers, and I want to do it for somebody else. So what I'm going to do is edit this. I'm going to copy the description, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to create another new listing. So I'll just click discard. I'm going to create another new listing under Nemo Media Group for a new audience, because again, it'll all fall under the same banner. So I click the plus sign, and I'm going to put in my title. Whoops. And it was SEO specialist. So actually, I'll just do this. I'm using their keyword. And then I'm going to say serving, but instead of saying dentists, this time I'll say attorneys and law firms. And then what I can do, again, company is Nemo Media Group that I created. It'll fall under there, Minneapolis. And then I can put whatever years. I can just keep it current. I'm currently working here. That's fine. And then I don't want to update my headline, so take that off, because again, that's the top LinkedIn headline. I'm going to paste in what I put previously, and then I'll just change the audience name. So I could say dentists, or for this I would say attorneys and law firms. Okay, and you can see now I'm matching up the headline of this job listing to the content. So all you have to do, you keep the same template, what I do, how I do it, what makes me unique. You just change the audience names in there. So, if I wanted to do a third listing, I would create another new listing, and I would say, okay, I did dentists, law firms. The other one I want to do is small business owners. This would be a new listing. And I would say here in my description, I help small business owners. So it's a very simple way, and I'll show you some examples of adding multiple experience listings under the same company so that you appeal to multiple audiences. So for example, if it's multiple audiences or multiple services, either way, you put them all under the same company. So here's one-on-one business coaching, there's a service. SEO specialist, there's a service. LinkedIn lead generation, there's a service. Webinar training, there's a service. Online training courses, there's a service. So again, I'm listing, I've got 2 more roles here, debt collection marketing, freelance writing. So I've got like 7 or 8 services appealing to different audiences on here. I'm going to actually just delete this one, the SEO specialist. So I click the edit, and then at the bottom, you can just click delete, and that'll remove the listing. So I'm going to delete that. But this is how you're going to go in and appeal to multiple audiences or list multiple services on your profile. Now, what I recommend is strategically at the top with your LinkedIn headline, remember, this is digital, so you can change your direction at any time. What I recommend is you go after one audience at a time. So right now, I want to go after business coaches and consultants. So I'm going to have a LinkedIn headline that talks about that audience. And then in my About section, I'm going to talk about business coaches and consultants. I'm going to keep it very simple. And then in the experience section, my first listing is going to talk about business coaches and consultants. Remember, we can move these, we can drag them up and down. My second listing might talk about, dentists or lawyers. My third listing might talk about small businesses. They're there and people can find them, but they're not leading the charge. Now, here's the important thing about LinkedIn. 99% of your business is going to be from you reaching out to people and talking to them. You're going to get very few leads and very few customers who, quote unquote, stumble across your profile and want to talk to you. That's just the reality with 700 million members in 200 countries as of this recording. Very few people are on LinkedIn who are just going to stumble across my profile, be super impressed, and hire me. You've got to go out, and we're going to talk about that, but you've got to go out and do the outbound outreach. You're going to use LinkedIn search, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, to find people, to find leads, and go in and talk to them. And that's going to be the secret sauce behind this. So I want you just to realize that when you do different outbound campaigns on LinkedIn, when you're reaching out and searching for prospects, do one audience at a time. So for me, it might be business coaches and consultants today. And in a month from now, maybe I'm going to change my headline to say helping attorneys. And then I'm going to update this About section to say I help attorneys. But the rest stays the same. You just change the audience name in the About and in the headline. And the experience section will appeal to multiple audiences. And you can just move these up and down depending on which audience you're appealing to at a specific time. You can have all of these listed, all the different services, all the different audiences, just which one you're actively promoting, so to speak, right now, move to the top. So it's a very top-down philosophy. Now, before we finish this video, I want to just say for previous jobs, put them in there. Like these are my old quote-unquote day jobs. I still listed them. I still listed where I worked and when I worked and what I did. And this is more like a resume part. And the reason I suggest that is because you really want to make sure that people see a linear progression for you professionally. Like, what's your story? People always need a narrative to attach to you. They want to know, well, who is John Nemo? Where did he come from? I didn't just descend from on high as a LinkedIn trainer, right? So if they're curious and if they want to get to trust you more, they're going to want to look at your career path. So list those places, the places you worked. I started as a reporter. I did this. I wrote books as a freelance writer, etc. Now, you don't have to spend a ton of time with these old job listings and, go really detailed and everything. Just show the progression. It's just important for people to say, okay, you've been around since 97 professionally. What have you been doing? Right? So just list those old jobs. And then again, toward the top is going to be your current company, your current pursuit, what you're doing. Now, I want to show you something interesting that will come up when you're trying to list multiple sections under one company name. So you can see Nemo Media Group, even in the time that we've been talking, LinkedIn has changed and it removed my freelance writer area. And so it put it down here because, again, the timing is different. So I was a freelance writer. I actually started in college in 1993. Now you're looking at this going, well, wait a minute. You put Nemo Media Group as the company. Why is this job not listed up at the top with all the other ones? LinkedIn has this goofy algorithm that basically says, if your jobs at a company aren't at least like, within a year or less of each other, we'll break them out. So for example, all the Nemo Media Group jobs you'll see start around 2012, 2017, 2012, 2011. So they're all pretty close to each other. This one started in 93. So LinkedIn is saying, hey, that's too far apart. We're going to separate that as a different company. I know, it's goofy. So if you want if you want to make sure a job fits under this one listing, you can see all these jobs, you have to just kind of fiddle with the dates. So let me show you an example. So I've got this buried way down here, the freelance writer. Let's say, well, I really want that to be up with the other Nemo Media Group listings. I just have to change the date. So if I click the edit pencil and I change the date to say 2012, which is around, and I'll just say currently working here, then it will move up to that group. So see, now it moved up. If I go to the top here, so I've got that. Let me find it here for you. Freelance writer. Now it's there. So again, in fact, I'm going to try something while you're watching. I'm going to edit that. What if I go back to 93, but I say I'm still working there? I think it'll stay because it'll say present, like, oh, you're still there. I think the problem before was I had an end date. So let's see. Save it, or did it move back? Okay, let's take a look. Yeah, see, now Nemo Media Group says 26 years of experience because it's including that one job that I said started in 93. Okay. So what's interesting about this is you might have to play with the dates a little bit, and I'll refresh it just to see if LinkedIn figures this out. Let me go out here. Yeah, so now it says freelance writer, 93 to present, 26 years. So, depending, I don't want to get too bogged down in details. Just so you know, you might have to fiddle with the dates. So I'm actually going to change this because I am not freelance writing anymore. I'll go back to when I stopped, which was like 08, save. What it's going to do if I refresh it, it's going to move it back out of there. So again, that's just kind of the last little housekeeping item is if you want them all to fit under here, under one company umbrella, keep the end date as present. As long as you keep the end date as present, all the jobs will show up together no matter when they start. Or if they have a start and end date, they just have to be kind of close to the other jobs. Or if it's not a big deal, it'll just get moved down here. Off we go. So there you go. Take time, put in that effort for the experience section. The first thing you're going to want to do, again, is copy and paste everything you put in the About section as your first listing under experience, your first job listing. Then create additional listings for other services, other audiences. Just change the names of the audiences, fill in the blanks, that kind of thing, or list the other services. And then remember that strategically what we're going to do is 99% of our business will be outreach. So lead with what you're reaching out about right now. If right now you're outreaching to coaches and consultants, lead with that in your headline, lead with that in your About section, lead with that at the top of your experience. Because remember, the riches are in the niches. We want to appeal to niche audiences. We'll cover all our bases in experience, listing everything we do, but we're going to funnel it toward the top of what we're currently after in terms of who we're engaging on the platform. So there you go. Get after it. I'll see you in the next video.